Hi there! Today's video there is nothing to do with Spain and everything to do with Scotland. Back in 2018, we bought a house. We hate the idea to have a mortgage and didn't want to borrow the maximum amount of money we could. So we searched on the market a house with potential. Believe or not, the first house we went to see it, we bought it. We renovated the whole house and the gardens. In this video, I will show you what we done in the garden in 4 years, from the day we got our keys to the day we left.
Just leaving our house. Beautiful view. And small paradise.
We done everything ourselves and tried to reuse a lot of material. To live in UK inspired me in many ways. The British people really love their gardens, and it is there where I discovered my love for gardening. Our garden was a quite a small size garden, and when we designed our garden, we designed it divided in rooms, and each of these rooms gave something different to us. Are you ready to embark on this adventure with me? So, grab a snack and a cup of tea and enjoy the video. This story started in June 2018, when we finally were homeowners. We bought a house full of potential and opportunities. One of the things I love so much about my old house was the views and the sun orientation. I knew the rest we could just make better. Let me start explaining how was my garden before the whole renovation. We had some kind of pinkish gravel. There was a lot of paving stones, a washing line what was blocking the view from the kitchen window, an oil tank, and there was a quite big size shed and some wood storage. There was something cool. It was a kind of like a vegetable garden behind with a greenhouse. So we got that. First thing we done was to do a big clean and start removing things, so we actually could do something with the garden. And then we decided to remove the shed because it was just like covering a beautiful apple tree we had in the end of our garden. It was just a really beautiful focal point. We had decided we would sow some grass seeds to add some green to our garden. We covered the oil tank with some trellis. There were so much work removing the gravel and the stones. But seriously, when we sow the grass seeds and the grass start coming up, our garden now actually start looking like a garden. Right, Next, we decided to change the whole vegetable garden. We put down all the raised beds and we actually moved the greenhouse to the other side of the garden. We found some material in the shed and we decided to give a use for them, and we made some very nice cool raised beds in the vegetable garden. Beautiful, but something was missing. We were missing to have some chickens. So to open up some space, we said goodbye to one raised bed. And then we decided to change the vegetable garden again, and we took down all the raised beds and we moved the chickens near to our house. We just enjoyed a lot to see the ladies wandering around the garden. So after that winter, we start feeling like we want to have more growing space, and we start wondering how we will do like some more beds around the garden and where. So somehow I put these 2 chairs in the middle of the garden and start giving me some ideas. So that's when the fun really begins. We start thinking about where to put it, how to put it. So we move the chickens again and we add a shed because we need some storage. And we came up like with the idea to make some raised beds really close to the house and a beautiful arch. We changed again the vegetable garden and made some beds, and we were always like reusing the material we found in the garden. So we done some research and we thought we could just make compost inside of the beds while we are planting on the top. Let me explain what we done. So very easy. We had some wood lying around in our garden from the apple tree, and we add some soil from our compost bins, a layer of food scrap, straw, and another layer of food scrap, then cardboard and topsoil on the top. And we made some holes and we water every single layer, and it was just so simple and so easy. We had most of the stuff for free, and the end result, the compost, was just beautiful. And if you want to try at home what we done, it's easy. Just remember to water every layer, to make holes so has ventilation, and afterwards you just cover. There was something missing in our garden, a path. And I always want to have one, so we had an idea. We had lots of material just laying around. This path was one of my favorite things in our garden. Turned up so beautiful. Oh boy, and this makes me remember we still have our chickens, what doesn't really have a proper space to stay. But it's the next project we done in our garden is not really about the chickens, it's about our cats. We keep adding things to the project and seems like we're never gonna finish actually the garden. But through the way we just thought we will make a catio for our cats so they could be outside with us and could be safe, because we used to live in a very busy road and they were just indoor cats, and I always had to feel sorry for them not to be able to go outside. But for their safety, we always kept them indoors. But now was another exciting project to start in the garden. We didn't want just a cage outside the window blocking the view. We want something what makes part of the garden and looks beautiful at the same time. But anyway, the project was quite big, and I will explain in a different video. The catio was so cool to make and was my favorite thing to make in this garden. So I really think deserve an entire video for itself, because it was just so cool. We were always trying to save money and trying to reuse things, but we did invest some money in painting, because we'll preserve the wood and also will look nicer. So why not? We already had spent so many days and hours making the garden, why not to paint all the wood? Our house was always looking like a hive of activity. No stopping. In that point, our catio project was looking so good. Really start coming out of the paper so well and get integrated with the garden. Some plants start growing and filling up spaces. And I had decided to add some beds inside the greenhouse, so it will make more space to grow stuff as well. We had moved so many times our chickens, but actually was a reason for that. They were working for us. Then finally we decided we'll put them in a fixed space and make a higher fence, so this will stop them from escaping. We need to redo the beds, but that was no problem. Through the making of the garden, we discovered permaculture. It was a different way of seeing a garden. We tried to apply some principles, and one thing what worked so well for us was our chickens. We had used them to clean spaces, and also we had fed them with food scraps and other bedding materials to the pile. And in return, they gave us beautiful compost and delicious eggs to our family. We changed the beds quite a few times, and also we moved the chickens around the garden quite a few times. Was a lot of mistakes and learning, but I think that's fine. I love the idea to have a food forest. I find fascinating to walk around your property and be able to harvest foods, herbs, and flowers. We decided we would like to have one in our garden. The question was, where? Well, we still have some space between the raised beds and the vegetable garden. Right, the spot was chosen, so let the work start. So the idea is to remove some of the turf around the fence and to plant some fruit trees, berries, herbs, and some flowers to attract some pollinators. Another principle of permaculture is to obtain a yield. Obtaining a yield can be simple as growing organic food for your family, but it can also be about obtaining a non-tangible yield: happiness, health, or mental health well-being. We had up and downs during those 4 years in our life, some storms, but to be able to transform that ugly and sad garden in a small paradise, to provide food for us, nourishes more than the physical body. Through mistakes, we learned we should pay more attention before doing something. These save time and resources. A garden showed me it's more than a place to plant stuff and have barbecues. It is like a temple where I had time to let my stress go away and tune with nature. Was my safe space. Sometimes we need to let our imagination to flow and trust we can do it. That garden changed me for good.
Hello, baby.
When we put our house on the market, I was so pleased to hear the feedback from the people who was interested in our house. Every time I opened the door and the people saw the garden, was always a whoa, look at that, look at the garden. It was just so amazing to hear that. Really nice pictures and is a nice, yeah. To hear what those people were saying about the garden made me feel so good. We definitely created something beautiful in that house. Was one of the things really made me feel sorry to leave behind. look what I found here. Making a mess. Are you silly, you?